The world is old and the powers are weary. The god at the door of night has fallen, and the great enemy of the world has come back from the timeless void. The shadow has awakened the great evils to regain dominion over Ardar. Darkness shall cover the land, if not with the deeds of a small fellowship of elf friends. Join the players of this Dungeons & Dragons campaign as they fulfill the events of the Dag or Daggeroth prophecy and strive with Morgoth on the plains of Valinor. Welcome to the Undying Lands in Part 3 of the Inglorion Bastards trilogy, Trials of the Valar.
So guys, we are beginning the third part of our campaign, the third and final part of our campaign. It's called the Trials of the Valar. You guys have played, or most of you have played through the two other sections. The first one was in Middle-earth proper. That's the Middle-earth that everyone's kind of familiar with. And you wandered through over the Misty Mountains and through all the various forests and famous cities and kingdoms, and you basically had released you had done a ritual and released a shadow Maiar named Gwarthaur, and he, at the end of that campaign, you opened a portal to Tol Eressëa, and the shadow escaped across the straight road using this portal. And in doing so, one of your comrades was stranded over on Tol Eressëa and imprisoned. And came out not too healthy, having shared this portal with the shadow for 60 years. And you guys went after him, and you discovered that the shadow had basically on the way. He had this supernatural power to basically raise the dead, and the shadow for the first time sort of overcame the Blessed Realm, or at least Tol Eressëa, and things started just basically waking from the dead. And you weren't really sure what its end game was until you discovered that that basically the end of days were happening. So you guys were basically fulfilling this prophecy of Mondos, and so was the shadow. And you realized that the shadow had, in the end, you realized that the shadow had possessed this once really powerful, famous human named Túrin Turambar, and you ended up having to do battle with him at the end of the campaign. In the process, you found the Silmaril, recovered the Master Palantir, and also picked up a few named elven items. One of them was a spear called Enayor, and one was a dagger called Hathadal, a really sharp dagger, who accidentally kills people, apparently. So you guys, defeated Túrin and his once foe Glaurung, and you imprisoned Gwarthaur in this rapier that Okryn had. And so you entered the city of Tirion after the battle. You guys are pretty tired. I think Vic did his best to kind of try to heal you. I'm not sure where we left it last, but you're basically fresh off the fight, and the caves of the Forgotten had opened up, and let me see if I can find what I read to you at the end of the last campaign. All right, let's see. Here we go. So this is what I read to you right after you got to Tirion, and you met, you saw an old friend, Irame, who you kind of rescued off and on in the first campaign, and then died at the end of the first campaign. And Vic's character in the origin sessions went to the halls of Mandos on behalf of Vanya, the Valar, and requested her spirit be released. And she's been sort of working things behind the scenes, including getting the spear Enayor for Riken. And she's there, and you find out that she's pretty high up on the totem pole. She's actually sister to Finarfin, the king of the Noldor. All right, so here's what I read to you. The breaking of the caves of the Forgotten. The earth moves beneath the trees and the towers of Tirion. The sand and the waves part in the Calakiria. The monument and the stone atop the hill of Tuna break and give way to the rhythmic pounding. Clouds immediately form beneath the peaks of the Pelore, from the sea and unto the fields of Valmar. The sound of scraping metal on rock and earth gives way to the march of thousands of feet stomping in unison. And above all the clamor is the chanting of the multitude of dead. We storm this land for the king of men, to claim the right of our firstborn ken. Vengeance now for the land they rend, thralls no more for the lords we tend. And that's where we left off. So we have, we need to do a few things here before we get started. We need to know what you guys are doing with the rapier, with the shadow in it. Who has the Master Palantir? We're going to do one more shadow point and trauma roll. I'm going to describe what happened to Riken, and that's about it. And then we'll get started.
Is Okran still with us?
Okran is going to do battle with you tonight. I'm going to control his character. Riken is looking sickly. The evil breath that was coming out of his mouth looks like it had taken its toll on him. And the evil breath stopped emanating from him once the shadow was bound to the rapier. But it's still like he's going to need the sort of the medicine of the elves. And Irame says that he can stay within the walls and they will tend to him. Oh, and you guys did see that scene. I described it in chat over the last couple of weeks, where in the Master Palantir, you guys saw a scene of, let's look back. Does anyone remember? Let's see here. This is where Josh said, if you give the Master Palantir to Morloman, he'll come back and kick all your asses.
I think either Okran or maybe Ferder should hold it. Who has the other one? Cylinder has the other one.
I have the Silmaril.
That's right. MJ has the Silmaril, which your people would love to have back.
Yes, they would, wouldn't they?
Yep. And so I guess we'll have to tend to that to figure out if you give them the Silmaril. All right. So the scene in the Master Palantir that you saw was you see a deformed creature of darkness holding the Master Palantir aloft. So again,
does it look like Morloman?
It definitely looks like an Avathari. Yes. I'm just going to stop talking. We got to figure out a few things, and I can't figure it out for you. So, who has the rapier? Do we give the rapier to the Noldor? Same thing with the Silmaril. Same thing with the Palantir.
I'll give up the Silmaril. Do I get something cool in return? Like later on, do they give me something?
The eternal gratitude of the King of the Noldor.
That's worth bullshit. So I can conjure a couple of freaking cool fire elementals with this thing in my possession. I mean that seems useful. What the hell are they going to do with it?
Well, the Silmarils belong to their people, and now their people have supposedly two of the Silmarils. There's only a third one missing before possibly, the light of their people would be restored.
Yeah, but I get freaking a couple of fire elementals, and they'll get it back eventually. Can I get it back at the end of the third part of the story?
You say that? Hey, can I give you this back at the end of chapter 3, please?
Hey, I found this freaking awesome thing. I know you love it, but hey, all right, fine. I'll give it back to him, but I better be freaking king or something at the end of this.
All right, so Irame takes the Silmaril, and you think maybe she'll use it to sort of tend to Riken.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Can you imagine if Frodo kept the ring? We had another quest coming and he wanted to get invisibility powers. I'll come back and I'll throw it in.
Yeah.
I got one more fucking errand to run. I'll be right back.
I'll be right back. Oh, man. All right, cool. So you did the right thing. My friend. All right, so Riken and Bear and Irame sort of go off down the hall. And some of the other Noldor elves are helping Riken as he looks pretty weak. So the six of you are basically standing there, and there's an army. So a bunch of Noldor elves are sort of strapping on their battle armor, and they're heading out to the hill of Tuna, where you guys just battled Glaurung and Túrin. And you're getting the sense that they could use some help. But again, before we go, we have to figure out the rapier and the Palantir.
Where's the rapier right now?
I don't have a sword right now.
Whoa, if I had to give up the Silmaril, man, you're giving up that rapier.
No.
Well,
nobody gets the cool shit.
You have to figure out whether you want the rapier with the shadow in it.
Probably not.
That is true. That might be hard. Like, what happens if something goes wrong? What happened? Hey, you broke your last sword. What the hell? What happens if you break this one?
So the rapier actually, it looks like it got all jagged and barbed when Gwarthaur was bound to it. It sort of transformed before your eyes.
That doesn't seem weird.
to ask Irme what we could do with it.
Yeah. Can we just give it to them and like here you go. Good luck.
I don't know what you want to do with it, but
So the king actually approaches you. Irme had walked off. The king actually approaches you and says, "This item has great power, but the choice to wield it comes with severe consequences. So let me show this to you.
Ooh.
Let's see if that pops up for everybody.
It's like a modified picture of a screw.
Can you guys see the? You should be able to see all the powers.
Oh, that's some freaky shit.
It's the last one that you really need to be wary of.
Yeah, well, look at the thing.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that image from?
Every single time you attack with it?
Yep.
So that pretty much rules me out.
You found that image on a non-D&D site.
I mean, Tessero has advantage against corruption.
But every single attack?
Yeah.
I'm immune to poison. I'm not really a fighter, as it were, but
you will be once we
wildly.
change you to a moon druid. You're going to be a fighter.
A bear wielding this thing.
I'm not suggesting you take this because I think it could really fuck up the party. But
I don't think we should use it. I mean, the only reason why I would consider using it is if I don't have any other weapon. But I can just borrow some elf's weapon or something.
Yeah, they would definitely lend you a long sword.
Don't worry, I got mend. I can bring your sword back together.
So that's the other thing. Do you show the shards to Finarfin?
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, here's one, and hey, can you fix this one?
Said I collected. Well, I don't know. I collected the shards of the two sister swords. Do you know how we might be able to fix them?
He said he says there were only two people that can work that metal. The dark elf Ale, who created the swords originally, who would not willingly give them back if he reforged them. And he says it doesn't look like there's enough left of the swords for two swords. They could possibly salvage one sword. But obviously there is another great master smith who is in the halls of Maedhros named Celebrimbor or Feanor. Both of them are master smiths. He's sure that Feanor would be able to do it. He's not sure if Celebrimbor would be able to. Yes, your brother, MJ.
Okay. Yeah, but the elves don't actually die.
No, I thought what's his name killed him.
Yeah, and then he showed up in the halls of Maedhros, sort of like in Greek mythology.
Yes, right. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, we'd definitely go see him.
Well,
I see him every first Tuesday of the month.
It's been 2,000 years, so.
He says it's not as easy as just going to the halls. Irme had to be released from the halls to come back at the request of a Valar, and it was it was not an easy thing to do. But if the prophecy is true, and do you guys need a refresher on the prophecies?
We could totally find a Smeagol to sneak us in. He's gonna be a dude who knows a way in.
Do you guys need a refresher on what you know about the prophecy so far?
Yes, it could help me.
All right. So you have been. I think. Did they read part 3 to you yet? Let's see. No, they have not. Okay. So you only know 2 parts of the prophecy right now. Here's the first part. And Gilfanon shared this with you. Thus spoke Maedhros in prophecy, when the Valar sat in judgment in Valinor, and the rumor of his word was whispered among all the elves of the west. When the world is old and the powers have grown weary, Morgoth, the black foe of the world, seeing that the guard sleepeth, shall come back through the door of night, out of the timeless void, and all shall be darkness. And for the sun he will turn to black, and the moon will no longer shed his light. And that's exactly what's happened. You remember that Ancalagon, in addition to knocking the guard at the door, which was Erendiel with his Silmaril, he also knocked the sun and the moon out of the sky. But the host of Valinor shall descend upon him as a searing flame, white and terrible. Then shall the last battle be gathered on the fields of Valinor. That was part 1 that Gilfanon shared with you, and I think Idril might have shared part 2 with you at the Tower of Pearl. And it goes, on that day Tulkas shall strive with Morgoth, and on his right hand shall be Eonwe, and on his left Túrin Turambar, son of Hurin, returning from the doom of men at the end of the world. And the black sword of Túrin shall deal unto Morgoth his death and final end. And so shall the children of Hurin and all fallen men be avenged. Now, there's a problem with that prophecy. What is the problem?
The sword's broken.
He came back to life and then he died again. Oh, and then also the sword is broken.
Yeah. Right.
So, you can reforge the sword, obviously.
So I guess, your hope is that someday you could reforge the sword, like you said. And then there's the other piece of this where, do you remember the last words that Túrin said to you, Marco, and your character?
Something about him, giving something to me about his personality. I don't really remember.
Okay.
Actually, I don't remember either.
So let me read that to you too. Túrin's death. Okay. The last breath of Túrin, son of Hurin, can be heard by all. It speaks of gratitude and of relief. The physical body of the man turns to ash, but the essence of his people... hold on. So he actually says this to you before this happens. O son of Numenor, grant me the rest which I desire, and my spirit will bless you all the days of your life.
Oh, shit.
Do you remember that now?
Yeah.
And then I said, the last breath of Túrin, son of Hurin, can be heard by all. It speaks of gratitude and of relief. The physical body of the man turns to ash, but the essence of his people and of the greatness of his family ignites the air of like Ea itself. The life that was once inside the twice-born Lord of Dorloman finds its way into Faradir Thangale, son of Califar.
Woo! Okay, so now... So that basically means that the prophecy kind of transfers to me.
Yeah,
I guess.
So you as you guys are talking about this, Finarfin is like, we need to get out and battle these Numenorians that are coming out of the ground. But if you survive this and you want to find out the rest of the prophecy, Ingwe, the High King of the Elves and also King of the Vanyar Elves, who has been dwelling recently in Elmarin, the house of the Valar, of Manwë, the king of the Valar, he would be able to give you the rest of the prophecy. But that's for the end of the evening.
Sweet.
If we survive.
If you survive, yeah. So great. So Silmaril's wrapped up. Faradir has a sword now.
What kind of sword do I have?
Long sword.
Not a very good one.
Yeah, we'll say +2.
Okay, so
and
I can still use the stats that I get. I'll fix it.
Okay.
To match that.
So Palantiri and you gave the rapier to Finarfin, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
Are they gonna guard it? Okay.
No one else does anything around here.
Don't worry, guys. We got it.
I mean, you probably don't want it with you, so.
That's true. Whatever they do with it is better than what we got. They have us walk around with it.
There's
Give them the Silmaril too.
Yeah, we get the Silmaril.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
these guys need to not lose their stuff, though.
So they're not asking for the Palantiri. The Palantiri were housed by the Teleran elves in the city of Avalone, where the big tower was. You remember? But they're not asking for that back. So it seems that you're free to have it in your company. It's just a matter of. John, you when you see the vision of an Avathari holding the Palantir, you definitely feel like it's speaking to you. But it doesn't mean, I could see where the company wouldn't feel comfortable necessarily with you having it.
Yeah, I would kind of follow the kind of way the company does. So trying to figure out if it's a good thing that we see it in there or a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can discuss if you want.
So could somebody remind me, why would it be bad for him to have it?
Because he's... I don't know. I don't actually know why. Well, I do know why, but it's not the most compelling argument. I mean, I think we could try putting it in his hand and see what happens.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, like a little test run.
I'll touch it with my pinky finger.
Yeah.
Lightly.
Just hold it like the way we saw it in the vision. See what happens.
Let's do that.
Well, I'm interested to hear your before I tell you the take. It seems like you guys aren't really sure why maybe John's character is not regarded in such. Remember when Idril at the Tower of Pearl was like, "Why are you traveling with an Avathari?"
Yes.
Do you know why sort of the prejudice is there? And
No.
Okay, maybe someone could explain that.
He looks funny. I'll give him that. But beyond that,
Avathari came out of the void and out of the shadow. And here, what's the spider woman?
Ungoliant.
Ungoliant was an Avathari.
And Ungoliant was the spider that Melkor or Morgoth used to destroy the trees, your trees.
Son of a bitch.
So due to Ungoliant's actions, that's what my understanding why there's no.
And these
too highly.
Yeah, and these primordial creatures they dwell in a very shadowy region in Aman here, where the gods live to the south. You guys were really close to it, actually, and because the Pelori Mountains are so big, they also cast great shadows in their passes. And there was a shadowy region called Avathar, where Ungoliant came from, and basically they've nicknamed any primordial who dwells in the shadows there Avathari. John's character is an Avathari.
All right, so this has all just been like one massive trick where this dude has been with us the entire time just so he could get here and get this, or like he's cool.
No, so I am just in it for my own personal, like, selfish reason. I don't want the land to change, and I've heard that you kind of align with what I like, but I really don't care about Ungoliant or the rest of the Avatar or anything else like that.
All right, sounds good to me.
Well, John, we talked to, so you do actually kind of care about Ungoliant. You feel like you're kind of pissed at Ungoliant because she's made life for you more difficult, right? But other than that, you definitely you really don't care about anyone but yourself. But you have this animosity towards Ungoliant because she destroyed the most powerful things in the land, and now people hate your kind, right?
Give us a very bad name.
Yeah. So you guys give John the Master Palantir?
Well, not permanently. We just want to see what happens when he holds it.
Yes, I agree. Let's do a test run.
All right.
List on it.
So, John, you get a vision, a very clear vision, kind of a frightening vision.
So this is no good.
Of webs of darkness, like you haven't seen in probably tens of thousands of years, and webs that seem to just eat and absorb the light, any light that would creep in, and you recognize the terrain. It's the terrain of Avathar, and you see a large body moving amongst these webs.
I share that with the group and say, I think we're going to be facing Ungoliant.
Yo.
So for those of you who don't know, Ungoliant was never really seen from after she helped Morgoth. The rumor was that her hunger became so great that she consumed herself. And as she traveled through the land, she gave birth to a bunch of awful creatures. The spiders in Mirkwood all come from Ungoliant. The Shelob was the offspring of Ungoliant. So no one's really sure what happened to her, but John just saw her back in her homeland, the land that you just left, John.
Did she see him?
I don't know. But remember, the Palantiri were, all of the Palantiri had some sort of vision capability. So there was a scene in the Silmarillion where after Ungoliant devoured the light of the trees and destroyed them, that she swelled to an enormous size such that Morgoth was afraid. That's actually what it says. Yeah.
Can I get that Silmaril back now?
All right. So we got the items out of the way. There's an army coming for you guys. Are you ready?
Oh, what the hell? Why did I give the Silmaril away now? Are they gonna use it? Are they gonna come to our rescue?
They're gonna protect it, man, in case you guys die. Though this marks the end of the episode, the road goes ever on. Until next time, join us at longwinded.one and consider giving us a review on Apple Music, Spotify, or really whichever platform you choose.